Namaskar and a very warm welcome to our viewers on behalf of SSRF Facebook webinar live. My name is Mrs. Shweta Clark and I have been associated with SSRF since 1997. So today we will be talking about destiny, and as you know, destiny is a very vast concept. So we will be covering about different facets, and it's going to be a very interactive session. So please feel free to like, share, comment, ask questions. You can also send us private messages, and we will be taking up your questions as we go along this session. There will be some questions which, if we are not able to answer, there is a dedicated team of seekers who will be answering these questions very promptly. So today, before we go into the session, we would like to share that this is our fourth webinar, and the first two webinars that we had about 3,000 views and 500,000 reach. So stay tuned for many more webinars coming your way. We will be covering a lot of interesting topics like spiritual healing, how to spiritualize your life, and spiritual journeys of seekers. We are hoping that eventually we will go into different languages also. So today we will be sharing more about destiny, and to share my take about destiny, honestly, from the kind of background that I come from, I used to always feel that I have some inkling about destiny. I know, that there is a part of my life which I cannot control. However, like I had no inkling about how entrenched my life is in destiny. And this is one part of it. And the other part of it is I was feeling that, I don't want to lose all control. Like I want to take courage. I want to show some courage, pull all the strings together and take stock of my life. Or to say that, I want to shape the life that it has to be. So this was the juggle in my mind. However, as my life took its course, I started to realize that there is only that much I can control. However much I do, whatever tooth and nail I fight, but there is only that much I can control. And just to give you an example, say for example, I was very weak at mathematics. It was like my shortcoming. So I used to like slog and slog for my exams, and here my friends, like they would just sail through mathematics exam. So I would be like, oh, how come, why me? So why am I the one who's always singled out? This why me syndrome. So it was not just about maths exams, but it was about so many other things also, which I used to wonder why. And honestly, when I came to SSRF, I got many answers as to why things happen, and how destiny takes its toll. By the way, destiny is not just negative, it is also positive. So I also had positive experiences with destiny. So that is in nutshell, wherein I started taking the concept of destiny more seriously, and I started to realize that there is a part of life which can be controlled. I can do something about it, and there is a part of my life which I cannot control or cannot do anything about it. So that was in a nutshell, and I would like to talk about this first slide, wherein to go into destiny a little bit more. So how to say, destiny is not just connected to this present life, but destiny is also to do with our past lives. So to share that, as we go along in life, we are doing some deeds, yeah. We are doing some nice deeds like positive deeds, and also some negative deeds. So also in our past births, in our previous births, we have done some deeds. Now positive examples of positive deeds will be like, when we are helping others, we are benevolent towards others. And so because of that, we collect merits, and merits amount in happiness. And likewise, when we have done some unrighteous deeds, so we've been very mean, selfish, we have swindled, maybe we've swindled others, we've acted very badly. So because of that, we collect some demerits, and when we have demerits, then it amounts to unhappiness. So this is in essence how destiny gets amounted to, and the destiny in a person's life plays out through this happiness and unhappiness. So like there's a saying, like, as you sow, so shall you reap. It means that, it's very just. This whole concept of destiny is very just. So whatever we have done, that is what we are enduring in the present life. It is very, very just. So we have to be careful about how we are going through our present life, because whatever we are doing, it is shaping our future also. It is not just what we are enduring today. So that is why there are this is this whole concept of destiny. And what happens is, whatever we do, say good deeds and bad deeds, they are stored in an account called the give and take account. Now this give and take account is a very powerful account which has vetoing rights over all the other accounts. And so what happens is that like major events in our lives are governed by this account. You can also refer to our tutorial, why do we do the things we do. The first time, trust me, the first time I saw this tutorial, it was so intriguing, because all this while I was thinking that all the major decisions in my life I am taking. But here I came to know that there is a spiritual factor which is called destiny, which is controlling the major events in my life. So this is, I hope it is, you are finding it interesting. We can take some questions also if you would like to ask. So Sachin from India is asking that how old is the soul? So Sachin, it's an interesting question that you have asked. Actually, so to say, soul is the God principle within us. So it doesn't have, how to say, it is eternal. But what we are comprised of is the subtle body. That subtle body goes into the present life, the future lives, and that is what we need to be concerned about. And there's another question, do we meet our loved ones who have gone? This is asked by Geeta. So Geeta, there are many people who wonder, like, will we meet our loved ones going forward in the next life or the present life? Or we wonder also where our loved ones go after death. So there is a very interesting article on our SSRF website, where do we go after death? But by and large, from a spiritual science standpoint, that because we have give and take or karmic ties with our loved ones or family members especially, so we come together, because this give and take account or the karma that we have with each other, we have to settle. So that's why sometimes we come together in different lifetimes. So both the questions were very nice. If Marco from Vancouver is also asking another question, what determines the intensity of happiness or unhappiness we experience from our actions, and why do we have to undergo unhappiness due to deeds from our past lives? Why can't we start anew from this birth? So this is a very good question, Marco. I think this may be in minds of other readers also. It is that, see, happiness or unhappiness, it will amount, I mean, it takes from our actions. Whatever we do, it is a just, destiny is very just. It is not just like we just say, we ask for forgiveness for our actions and it is done with, because we have given unhappiness to others, no? So we have to also endure unhappiness to nullify that account. And also starting anew from this birth. So like I said, we have gone through many births together. This may or may not be our only birth. For some, it may be the first birth. But for others, like us, we may have gone through many births together. So there is an accumulated account, which I'll be talking in the next slides. And that accumulated account, out of that, a small piece that is called destiny for our current birth, we have to endure. So that is why we cannot say that we can start afresh. Of course, there is a 35% which is in our hands, which we can use, which is called free will, and through free will we can take that judicious action to do spiritual practice and to nullify that negative destiny that we have. And we will be discussing about it in our slides as we go along. So moving on, like some of you were asking also, it will clarify in this next slide about destiny and free will. So most of us, like some of us, feel that everything in our life is preordained, in the sense that everything is decided, or some of us in the other camp feels that we have full charge. Like I have full charge about everything that I want to do, or I want to shape my life. But the truth from a spiritual standpoint is somewhere in between, in the sense that what spiritual science says, that in the present era, 65% of our lives is destined and 35% of our lives is free will. Free will means that we can do something to overthrow this destiny. So whatever is positive destiny, we get happiness. So no one is saying anything about happiness. We feel okay. But the part, like sometimes we have to go through really bad situations in life, or we feel that it is very difficult to endure also. So but God has given us this 35% free will, and that free will is very potent, dear viewers. So like if we exercise that free will in a judicious way and we choose to do spiritual practice, what it can do is that it generates spiritual energy, and through that spiritual energy we can nullify this negative give and take account that we have created. So also, like I said, means in this slide, if you see, there is this, we've talked about the accumulated account. So that accumulated account is nothing but all the deeds that we have done, positive or negative. So it is all accounted for, and this total accumulated destiny is there. So out of that accumulated account, there is a small portion which we take birth with, that we have to endure in the present life. And that also, how to say, in a way, God is benevolent. Imagine if we had to go through that entire account. Now with that small piece also, we are sometimes very bogged down. We get bogged down with so much of unhappiness coming our way. Imagine if we had to endure that whole account. It is very, very difficult. So that is why God gives us a chance. He gives us that free will which we can exercise to do spiritual practice. And if we can also take questions now based on this slide. So Santosh Kumar has asked that sometimes we feel, let's leave this to destiny, but inside us we feel fight and undergo some pain and depression. How can we deal with this situation, and how can we come out of depression? So it is a very nice question. I can understand, Santosh, and I also empathize with you. When destiny hits us full force, then it is very difficult to stay calm or to feel that I will not be disheartened, because at the same time we are not able to see a way out of it. We are disheartened sometimes. But like as you have said, that we should strive to come out of it. And destiny, for everyone's information, see, destiny is a spiritual factor. So it is not just that we will have that conviction, or at physical level we are trying to do something, but because destiny is a spiritual factor, we have to deal with destiny with spiritual means only. So what I mean by spiritual means is doing spiritual practice. And we will come to a slide wherein we will explain what we can do as a part of spiritual practice. So although the picture looks very dismal, or we feel sad that oh, so much of negative destiny we need to undergo, but because God has given us that 35% free will, we can do spiritual practice. There are different steps of spiritual practice which one can do to overthrow this 65% destiny. I hope, Santosh, that answers your question. Ryan asks that nice statistics there. Be interested to know who quantified it. So that again is a good question. All the spiritual science that we share on the SSRA website is obtained through advanced sixth sense. There are seekers, who are able to receive that divine knowledge because they have done spiritual practice and they have the sixth sense. And of course, everything is verified by His Holiness Dr. Athavale, who is a saint and guru of the highest order. He is above 90% spiritual level. So all the research, all the percentages that you see on the website is given by His Holiness Dr. Athavale. And there is a reason why we've quantified. Because see, for everything, the science is there. But for a common man to understand, to realize the essence of spiritual practice, so if it is quantified in numbers or that spiritual science is shared, then it becomes more easy to comprehend and more people are inclined towards practicing. So that is the reason of sharing it on the SSRF website. Vinay Kumar has asked, how can we determine that an account is getting created or settled? Yeah, that's a very common question that all of us have. So we don't know whether a new account is getting created when we are doing a benevolent act, or whether an old account is getting settled. So we don't know. See, it is very difficult to say whether we are nullifying an account, whether we are creating an account, or what really is happening. Only a saint of the highest order, someone who is above 90% spiritual level, only they can tell us. And actually, how to say, more attention should be that how I can utilize my present moment, instead of getting too entangled in the process of whether it's a old account getting created, getting nullified, whether I'm creating a new account or not. But what I should do with this 35% which is in my hands, the present, the today, how I can utilize it most efficiently, most judiciously. Because just to share with you that human life is so precious. We have no inkling about how human life is precious, and God gives us chance after chance so that we can do something about it. There is also a slide which we will be discussing as we go along. So we will be talking about it as we go along. I would like to reintroduce, because for the new viewers who have joined us, Namaskar, my name is Shweta Clark, and I have been associated with SSRF since 1997. We are talking about destiny and is my life ruled by destiny. So we've covered some part of it, and going along, I hope you are also able to catch up with us. So you can like, you can also share, you can ask questions as we go along. So we will go to the next slide about destiny. It is like all the major events in our life are governed by destiny. So how to say, birth, marriage, major illnesses, if we meet with any natural disasters, and death. So these are completely destined events. And the first time that I saw this, honestly, like I was feeling that, oh my God, this is all destined. And here I was thinking that at least marriage is something that I choose. Or there's so much that goes into choosing a partner. So we are like thinking, oh, should it be an arranged marriage? Should it be a love marriage? What are the criterias, compatibility? So many things come to our mind when we are deciding whom I want to marry, because it's a major life decision. Also, so these are some of the things that are listed, but there can be other things also. So say, for example, I don't want to live in India anymore. I want to resettle in Australia. I want to buy property there, land. I want to change my passport. I want to do certain things. So these are like major life events. So I don't want to reside in India, and I'm going to stay in Australia for a longer period. So a lot of my lifespan will be spent there. So it's another major life decision. So you will be so surprised how destiny plays a major part in these major decisions. So coming back to marriage, I would like to share a personal experience here. It's very funny, but how we are so we are thinking so much about marriage, and so also for me. So in my mind, I used to feel that maybe I'll not marry, because I don't know, whether I'll get the right person or not. I don't want to end up in unhappiness, and it has to be someone I really like, or I don't know how compatible we will be, and things like that. And then somewhere Sean comes along, and Sean is someone who is completely different to who I am. So he is a person who is very tech savvy, he's all into gadgets, he likes traveling the world, he is, everything that is so different to me. So for me, I'm a person who is more homely, wants to do all home things, doesn't want to travel so much, not tech savvy at all. And here we are talking about marriage. So, and in my mind, I'm thinking that really, am I going to marry this person? And he proposes me, okay, Shweta, let's get married. So, and however much in my mind I felt that we are so two different individuals, how do we get married and like that? And but the karmic ties are invisible. Just trust me on this, how invisible the karmic ties are. I felt more and more drawn towards Sean, or getting pulled towards him. And I don't know why, but I'm saying a yes to him. It's just destiny that I said a yes to him. And it turns out that he is my soulmate, or we are so good for each other from every aspect. Of course, there was big destiny there. So also there was this spiritual practice that we do together. We are seekers, so that also makes it all the more beautiful. But bringing back to destiny. But this is how things happen in life. We marry, we take major decisions in life. So there is this compounding factor of destiny. Destiny controls everything that's going on with major decisions in our life. So you can ask questions about this if you would like to ask any questions on this. And while the questions come in, we can also see about, when we have these karmic ties, they also get played through the emotionalism. Like for those of you who are married will agree with me that our partner or our husband, close people, family members, they have a control over us, in the sense that they have the power to give us most happiness and also most unhappiness. So if I have a fight with someone on the road, I don't bother, yeah, I brush it under the carpet. It's over, it's finished. But if I have a fight with Sean, like I'm sad for weeks together, or I'm grumpy, or I have these expectations that he should take care and like that. So it's very natural, that happens with all of us. And that's how the interplay of destiny keeps happening, because these are karmic ties. That's why, and when you get that love also, the positive side is also there. When you get that love, that happiness that you share, it is so entwined together. So this is how destiny, actually it is so entrenched. Every day we are getting governed and ruled by destiny, and it keeps interplaying. And there was one question from Lavanita. How can we face our destiny with a positive attitude? Can we feel happy when undergoing destiny that maybe is not so comfortable, like illnesses, etc.? So Lavanita, it's a very nice question. Actually, going through destiny with a positive attitude is sometimes not so easy, especially when we are hit with a very fatal disease, or our loved ones, we see them suffering. So at that time, to bring that concept, sometimes it doesn't come so easy, and we are wondering how we can help our loved ones, or what we get desperate in that situation. So from a spiritual standpoint, we can say, apart from of course psychologically, physically, you are giving that comfort, you are trying to be there for your loved ones. But at the mind level or an attitude level, although we may think that we want to remain positive, but we get bogged down with so many negative thoughts coming in our mind, and what we can do as a part of spiritual practice. So to say, if we really want to change from inside and have that positive attitude, only and only spiritual practice can help us, because that is the spiritual tool that gives us that spiritual energy. See, we may have that intellect, we may want to do something, but it may be more like wishful thinking, unless it is backed by spiritual energy. So that spiritual energy comes through spiritual practice, and I'll be covering that in the slides going forward. But to say in a nutshell, see, there are steps of spiritual practice which we can do. One of them is chanting the name of God as per the religion of one's birth. And then also there is another step of spiritual practice, which is personality defect removal process. So when we are very sad, through this process we can address how we can remain positive. There is a whole process of going about it, how we can address that sadness. And trust me, when you do spiritual practice, then God comes into the periphery, God comes into the picture. And when God comes, there is energy that comes, spiritual energy. So it doesn't remain at the visual thinking level, but we are able to transcend and go to the next step, wherein we are actually able to remain stable. We are actually able to help the other person who is supposing suffering from fatal illness at a spiritual level. And that is the highest which we can give. See, normally what we feel, no, we want to give the best to our loved ones, so we are trying at a physical level, like we try to keep the home comfortable, we try to put food on the table, we try to do everything possible in our periphery. Or even like at a psychological level, we think that I should give love. Generally we want to do the best for our loved ones. But I don't know if you've ever wondered, is there anything more than what we can do at a physical and psychological level? Actually, honestly, the highest we can give to another is at the spiritual level, and we will see what we can do at the spiritual level. So, okay, there is another question from Gaurish. He is asking, which is a good mantra for oneself? So this is going back to that step of spiritual practice that I had talked about, that one of the ways by which we can use that 35% free will to overthrow destiny is by doing spiritual practice. And one of the steps in spiritual practice is chanting God's name. So chanting God's name, you can also read that article on the SSRF website about chanting, which goes into details about what one should chant, how much they should chant, why those mantras only, or why those chants only and not other chants. Basically, we recommend two chants. One is the chanting the name of God as per the religion of one's birth, and the other chant that we recommend is chanting Sri Gurudev Datta. It is a very, very powerful chant which is for our departed ancestors. So these are the two chants that we recommend for everyone. But you can go into more details about chanting on the website by reading articles. You can also ask on our login facility, because login is ask a question facility on the SSR website, and we have a dedicated team of seekers. We have it in many languages also. So please feel free to ask all your questions on the login also. Okay, Prakhar Gupta is asking that can chanting nullify sin? Okay, that's another nice question. So definitely, see, chanting, when we chant God's name, then it generates some spiritual energy. But chanting alone may take a long time. And also what happens is, supposing we are chanting God's name and at the same time we are doing unrighteous deeds, then there is some mismatch, isn't it? So we have to live our life righteously and we have to chant God's name. Besides chanting God's name, there are also steps of spiritual practice which we can do. So that when we do holistically spiritual practice, then it helps to generate even further like spiritual energy, and we can come out of the demerits or the destiny faster. Chanting God's name helps to remove destiny, definitely. Okay, we can go to the next slide. It is about the like I said, we have destiny with our loved ones. So with our spouse or with husband and wife, the percentage is 27%, and with our between parents and siblings, it is 27%. and the remaining, like other siblings or relatives, close acquaintances, friends, we have 9%. So what it means is that there is, these ties are very strong, or we experience different emotions. I don't know if you want, like if you have seen sometimes, when the loved ones are not with us, they have gone somewhere, still we remember them, still we worry about them. So we experience unhappiness through that also. So these are, these are the percentages of, like, the karmic ties that we have with our loved ones. And so if you have any questions so far on the slides that we have covered, you can ask. I would like to welcome our new viewers who have come. My name is Shweta Clark, and we are talking about destiny and how destiny rules our life, what we can do to overthrow destiny, and how much of it is, how much of our lives is controlled by destiny and how much of free will we have. So all these facets of destiny we are covering in the topic that we are doing. So if you have any questions or any comments, you can like our page, you can also share with your friends. Okay, so there is a question from Madri Dasi. Namaste. If we have free will, then how do we know if others' actions are newly created karma or my destiny? Okay, so it is a nice question. Sometimes it's very baffling as to what is happening. Really, all others, how they are behaving with me. Are they creating a new account, or they are, it is settling a new account? So, like I said before, it is very difficult to generalize. We never know what's happening, what's unfolding. So, whether I'm creating a new account, whether I'm dissolving a previous one, I don't know. But what I do know, and what I should be very, very cautious about, is how I am behaving, how I am dealing with people, how I am doing my deeds, actions. Because we should be very, very judicious to do actions in a righteous way. We should behave nicely with others. We should, how to say, we should do it in a proper way. Why? Because the present is also shaping our future, irrespective, even if our old account is getting nullified, still how I behave is very important. So that we can do. See, we may want to behave nicely, or we sometimes think that even if the other person is angry with me, say, my brother's shouting at me or something, I don't know, there's an unpleasant fight going on in the house, and in that moment I do want to keep my cool, I do want to behave nicely, but it is quite another. Sometimes we give in to the situation, or sometimes we don't have that enough strength to withstand such situations. That's why, how to say, to be able to do properly in any situation, we need that spiritual strength. Otherwise, what happens, that somewhere along the way our defects take over. Like, say, if I have anger in me, and there is a situation that's unfolding wherein others are angry, and there's to and fro that's happening, so I also somewhere give in, because I have that visual thinking, but I don't have that conviction, I don't have that spiritual energy backing me. So that's why spiritual practice becomes very, very necessary. Okay, we have another question from Richa Vyas. How about the case when we are being nice in every way possible, but others take undue advantage of our niceness? Yes, Richa, that is another thing that we face all the time, because sometimes we are nice, but there are others also who are, trying to put us down, take advantage of us. See, it doesn't mean that others should take advantage of me. We are not saying that we should, how to say, give in to everyone. It is just like, if some unrighteous thing is happening, then we should stand for it also. Because standing for righteousness, dharma, is also our spiritual practice. It is not that someone is doing something wrong and we turn a blind eye. It's not like that. That is not spiritual practice. But how we go about it, how we can do it calmly, can we escalate, can we take help of others, There are many ways of going about it, and that we have a choice about. So in that way, Richa, you can try. Okay, so these were very nice questions which all of you asked, and we can go to the next slide, which is about purpose of life. So, like I said, I don't know if you've ever wondered, what is the purpose of life or why am I here? I've suddenly landed up now, what am I supposed to do? This is besides all the other purposes, the worldly things that we want to do. So I may want a very nice house by the beach side, a bungalow, and like that. I may want a Mercedes parked in my garage and things like that. I want to have a nice home, cozy corner, cozy things for my family. That is not bad. We should have that. But this I'm talking about besides all that, besides earning, besides worldly desires that we have, worldly purposes that we have we ever wondered why we are here? Or is there all there is to life? That I, earn, get married, have children, settle the children, grow old, and that's it. But there is more to life. And viewers, like how, I had shared before, that human life is very, very precious. Actually, you can see the percentages on the SSRA website. There are articles, where do we go after death, before death, what happens, and like that, which is an eye opener. Honestly, it is an eye opener as to what happens and how seriously we should take this chance which God has given us, because we are born on earth for two main purposes. One is to nullify the give and take account or the destiny that we have with our loved ones, and the other is to do spiritual practice and attain God realization. So these are the two main reasons why we are born on earth. And if like there is also another very interesting how to say information, like if say we are average human, and any average human being, their spiritual level is about 20%. So out of every 100 births that we have, means only 2% we are able to how to say come back. I will just clarify, just a moment. Means like after death, what happens is sometimes we go to a region called the nether region, and from there the next birth that will happen is between 50 to 400 years. That is the kind of time period which may go by before I get another human birth. So it is so rare, that chance to be born again. So we should take stock of our lives, and we should do like carefully, how we use this human birth. So there's a question from Tamil Malar. He is asking, is adopting a baby another person's karma, or it is dharma? So this is an interesting question. See, from a spiritual standpoint, adoption means it is like taking on the karma only, or we should try, maybe if it is possible to not adopt, but we never know. Means if it is not possible, then it is destiny that we are creating. So this is a nice question that was asked by Tamil Malar. Any other questions viewers would like to ask? So like I was saying about purpose of life, see, the purpose of life means we don't know when we are born, and we get embroiled in the worldly responsibilities. We like go on, we go on fulfilling that only. And sometimes people feel that God realization is not for me, or sometimes we feel that, taking care of my worldly responsibilities, how am I supposed to fulfill this purpose of life? So not to get disheartened there, actually you can do spiritual practice while taking care of your worldly responsibilities. It is not that you have to renounce everything, go on the mountains, and then only you can fulfill the purpose of your life. It is not like that. You can still fulfill the purpose of your life by doing spiritual practice on an everyday basis. And spiritual practice is, how to say, it is possible. Okay, Marco has asked another questions. I was in a major car accident where the opposite driver was drinking under the influence of alcohol. So wasn't that due to his mistake of drinking while driving, or was that my destiny to be in that accident? So it is a very good question. Basically, when when we meet with a major accident, then of course it is that other person's fault, but me meeting with a major accident is my destiny only, because see, you have abided by all the rules, or you are going, you've checked petrol, everything is fine, you are going on the road, but the very fact that you have met with a major accident, irrespective of whose fault it is, but major accidents, like we said in the previous slide, is a part of destiny only. Richa is asking, how about the case when we are being nice in every way possible, but others stay? Oh, we took that. We took that already. Okay, so we can move on to the next slide about spiritual practice. This is a very important slide from the destiny point of view. Let's see, like we said, that spiritual destiny is a spiritual problem. So also to nullify destiny, God has given us spiritual tools. Like we have spiritual tools, and we have that 35% which we can use to our advantage. And what we can do as a part of spiritual practice. So chanting God's name is the first step which we can imply for. So chanting, the thing is, for chanting there is no limitation of time and space. You can chant anywhere, anytime. So for those of you who are getting worried, that we have this purpose of life when we have worldly responsibilities, and how I can also keep balance, or what I should do. So this is your answer. See, because chanting God's name you can do anywhere, anytime, and chanting God's name generates spiritual energy which helps to overthrow that destiny, or to burn destiny. And you can how to say, read about it on the SSRA website also. You can ask questions. So here I wanted to also share a personal experience, like how chanting God's name and doing spiritual practice shields us from when destiny is very difficult. So for me, what happened, that my dad passed away when, like, we are 3 siblings, so I'm the eldest and I have 2 brothers, and I was doing spiritual practice since 1997, like I shared. So I was in high school since I started spiritual practice, and over a period of time, means after a few years, like my dad passed away. So it was a very, very difficult period for our family, wherein like none of us were settled. Like I had just started working, and like that both my brothers were still studying, and my mom was a housewife. So like it was a jolt to us, in the sense that we were feeling that, oh my God, how are we supposed to now go forward? What do we do? But at that time, because I was doing spiritual practice, I was chanting God's name, and occasionally, like I would do service to God. You can read about this service to God as a step of spiritual practice. It is called Sat Seva. So I was doing that occasionally, and in different things that SSRF had prescribed. So in that moment of pain, like I felt that I'm shielded, as though God has held me together. I cannot explain that fully. There's limitation to how I can express. But what I want to share is that even in the deepest of troubles, when we do spiritual practice, then how God comes and how much spiritual energy there is, that like I felt that I'm shielded from the pain. Although, of course, I was very attached to my dad, and I was very emotional at that time. But even with all that pain, I felt that God is shielding me. and like I was doing everything needed. So taking care of that ritual, in our family the ritual goes on for many days. So I had that strength to get up, go through that ritual, take care of everything, take care of my mom, take care of my siblings. So that energy was not mine. If you had seen me, I was, I used to be a very weak person, and to show that kind of strength in that moment of pain was very, very difficult for me. But it was also like God showing me that when we do spiritual practice, even when destiny is very difficult, how we are shielded from pain. So rest assured, like when you do spiritual practice, you will also experience, and what will happen, the pain will go down and you will be able to show more courage. Sometimes like destiny will also, the pain will go down in that sense. Geeta is asking, I know what is the effect of chanting with a wandering mind. Geeta, if I have understood you correctly, do you have a problem? Means like, are you trying to say that when you are chanting God's name, there is less concentration and the mind wanders? Or I'm not so clear with the question, but if that's the question, it is very common. See, when we start chanting God's name, it is not that we will have concentration right away. Naturally, it is difficult. So, it is a matter of practice also. And as we go on chanting, first, when we start chanting, a small impression is created in the subconscious mind. And as we go on chanting, that then that impression goes on increasing. And then you will see that while you're doing other activities, while you're walking, while you're doing other things, cooking, walking the dog, I don't know, at that time chanting will go on happening automatically. Sometimes seekers have also experienced that they go to sleep, and when in the morning they get up, the first thought in the mind is chanting God's name. So it means that somewhere the chanting happened throughout the night. So this is just how it is. As we go along, chanting becomes deeper. Prakhar is asking, if we did spiritual practice and reach heaven, will we have to face the pain of our destiny in heaven also? Or by doing spiritual practice in heaven, it can be nullified? Okay, Prakhar, it's a nice question. See, it is also there on the SSRF website, the planes of existence. There are 7 positive planes of existence and there are 7 negative planes of existence. So, heaven is the first positive plane of existence, and very few people go to heaven. It is almost negligible. Very, very less people go to heaven. Those who have a lot of, they have done a lot of meritorious deeds, or there may be some spiritual practice also, they go to heaven. And while theoretically we say that in heaven we can do spiritual practice, however, what happens, in heaven there is a lot of happiness. So one gets embroiled in that happiness only, and then the concentration is not so much on spiritual practice. If you do spiritual practice in heaven, you can definitely nullify. But in essence, what happens, that we are able to do more spiritual practice on the earth plane only. So it is like that. Sushil Chachan is asking that after doing everything very honestly and having deep faith in God, doing some sort of spiritual practice but still feeling life is full of pain. So Sushil, I empathize with you. Sometimes it is not so easy, and we've gone through, means we don't know how much destiny or baggage we are carrying in the present life. So we feel that everything we are doing, we are reaching nowhere, because we are like we are really trying and we are hitting against the wall. It can happen like that, but not to lose faith, because you are also shaping how it will be forward. And when we do spiritual practice earnestly, then God also helps, and God rewards every bit of spiritual practice that we do, just to stay patient and hang on, and to you can make efforts to increase spiritual emotion. That is another step of spiritual practice, like how we can make efforts. So you can also read about spiritual emotion on the SSRF website. You can ask questions on login. Mrs. Segar is asking, Namaste Ji, what are the spiritual practice we can do before studying for better concentration? Okay, so for better concentration, chanting God's name helps to bring about a lot of concentration. Actually, there are many benefits of chanting God's name, not just nullifying destiny, not just help getting better concentration, but there are many benefits of chanting. So chanting God's name is one of the ways by which you can get better concentration in studies. Prakhar Gupta, there has been near death experience where people went to a room full of people and Lord Yamraj was there. Is there truth in these near death experiences? So see, near death experiences, we don't know, it can be different for different people, and it can be caused because of many factors. So it may not be just a destined event, or we can never know, it can be fueled by negative energies also, like out of body experiences are there. So you can read about negative energies and how they influence people. There is a whole section about negative energies on the SSR website, which you can read about. Okay, and there is Chandra San Tamil Malar who is asking, do I need a guru to ignite the mantras before I start chanting? So yes, many people think that some guru should give me a guru mantra and then only I can start chanting, but it is not like that. Chanting, this is as per spiritual science. So like we can start chanting God's name. There are reasons also given on the SSRA website why these two chants only, chanting as per the religion of birth and Sri Guru Dev Datta. So see, we are not born in a family, we don't decide where we will be born. God gives us birth. So the family deity is like our spiritual parent. So when we chant the name of our family deity or the name of religion as per name of God as per the religion of our birth, then they are like our spiritual parents. So they take care of our spiritual needs and also overall well-being. So that is why we recommend chanting the name of family deity. Okay, so we are almost through with our time, seekers. So before we end, we would like to share with you, like, if you can subscribe to receive notifications for our further webinars. Like I said, there will be many interesting webinars coming your way. We will be speaking about different spiritual topics like spiritual healing, spiritual journey of seekers, and like that. So please stay tuned in and please subscribe. And also we have orientation satsangs or spiritual meetings on Skype. So you can log on to the SSR website and register for these orientation satsangs or spiritual meetings. And also we have 3-day and 5-day spiritual workshops. They are very interesting and highly recommended. They talk about the whole spectrum of spirituality. See, today we just touched upon very little about destiny. Imagine if we knew about so many other concepts of spiritual practice and we got help in our spiritual journey. So you can come, you can register for these 3-day and 5-day spiritual workshops. And please don't forget to like our page. You can please post also comments. You can share the video. For those of you who missed today's session for some reason, the video will be there, so you can watch it also. You can comment, ask questions. So this is all we had for today's webinar. Thank you for joining us, and we really appreciate the time that you've given us. And namaskar from SSRF family.